Welcome back, guys, to the Whiskey Explorer, and we've got an exciting episode tonight. I've got my brother out for review on the Whiskey Explorer, so this is my brother from the travels in Vancouver, heading back to Vancouver Island to join me to discover this whiskey. We've got the Shelter Point, and this happens to be a very special bottling indeed. So this one right here is the Cask Strength Single Malt Artisanal Whiskey. And so this one here actually came from the cask that's sitting right here in the new Whiskey Explorer space. So we've got a cask to add into the reviews. It'll always be fun to have that. This is a genuine retired cask. It was originally virgin French oak when they started to fill this one. So that's what the wood management is for this whiskey here. And this bottle actually came right from a cask you see here. And what's cool about it is you can't find this particular bottling in any store. So this bottling was actually aged for a year longer than normal. So we've got here it's a relatively new distillery. So I'm pretty sure their spirit is now probably about 9 or 10 years old. So they're probably getting ready to release some pretty decently aged Canadian whiskey. This one here was aged for 7 years. So they distilled this one in 2011. It was November 2011 and bottled it on February 2018. So we've got a good 7-year aged whiskey there. And really exciting distillery. They're located in Campbell River. And so that's probably about 3 hours north from us. Yeah, super excited to open this guy up and try it out for you guys and let you guys know what we think.
I haven't had any of this at all. Any of their products.
Me too. Yeah. And so they actually won Canadian Whiskey of the Year in 2018. So they actually won a pretty prestigious award there. And what's cool about it is that these guys have been on the shelf for as Jason said, for quite a long time. And the thing is that I have always wanted to pick up a bottle, but I just, for whatever reason, I was looking at other things and I never quite pulled the trigger. And I think part of that for me was if I was going to buy it, I was going to go for the Cask Strength edition. And the Cask Strength editions, as you guys know, is always going to be at a higher price point. So this bottle, if it wasn't a special private label bottling for a whiskey club, this one would go for $90 on the shelf. So it's getting up there in terms of price, but you have to keep in mind what you're getting for that. So what you're getting is, this is bottled at 58% ABV. So it's a super high cask strength bottling. So what you can think of when you're thinking about like, well, is there value in, purchasing this whiskey, this cask strength whiskey? Well, you're going to be able to water that whiskey right down to the level where you enjoy it, and that might be at like 45%. So if you're watering it down to 45%, you can think of like how many extra grams you can get out of that whiskey, right? So that's sort of something to consider when you're looking at cask strength offerings.
For sure.
But it's super cool because we're both excited because neither of us have actually tried Shelter Point, and Jason's just excited because he gets to come over and drink some nice whiskey, so that's always a positive. So what we'll do, without further ado, guys, is we'll get into this bottle. We'll give you guys sort of what we get on the nose. We'll give you guys our opinion on that, and we'll have a look at the color and the viscosity. Then we'll do a tasting, give you guys some tasting notes, and let you know if we buy it again. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this guy here.
Got a little more of a difficult little pulley right here.
Oh, it's got a little tab there?
A little tab.
So private label. This is a nice little blue label covering the top of the cork there. I'll just kind of bring that up towards the camera so you guys can have a look at that. And so it's actually just like a tag right through the actual cork there. So you're actually going to pry off or tear off the private label there as you're opening it. So pretty special bottling there. And oh yes, indeed. We got a nice cork pop there. I always like that, and I always like to smell the cork too. Ooh, so that's interesting. Get lots of fruit. So I get like almost a white wine on that cork.
Oh, very white, yeah.
Like almost like a sweet white wine, like a sweet Chardonnay. So like not like a Riesling or a Canadian ice wine or something that's like really super saturated in sweetness, but definitely like a sweet Sauvignon Blanc or like a, like almost like a Gewürztraminer or something like that. But definitely like a white wine taste.
There's a little bit of smoke on there.
So this is actually aged right by the ocean. So they do say, this says on the back, it says sunsets and sea air, unofficial ingredients in every bottle. So that's pretty cool marketing, I would say. And, being aged by the ocean, this apparently for the flavor, like for the tasting notes, this does have a little whiff of the sea salt. So we'll find out if there's any smoke or any sea salt in there. But it's like from the cork, guys, it smells absolutely fantastic.
Nice. Smells really nice.
And I have to say, that's the perk of buying a retired cask is you just get to stick your nose on the barrel when you miss whiskey and give it a nice sniff, and you get the smell of the whiskey coming right through. Yeah, just prime. So I'm going to just pour us a couple of wee drams here, and we're going to get into this. I like to pour Jason healthy drams, and he appreciates that. So, there you go, my friend. And the nice thing with these kind of cask strength presentations is this is going to be unchill filtered and uncolored. So the color you're getting in the glass is the actual color imparted on the whiskey from the barreling. Right? So you guys can see on the color there, we're looking at a nice medium golden straw color. It's a beautiful color to that whiskey. It looks just gorgeous, and it looks very inviting to drink. I'll tell you guys that.
It's got quite a nice smell.
Quite a nice nose.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, guys, we're going to do a cask strength tasting for you guys. But then I also have my trusty little water dropper here so that we can proof down our tasting and sort of experiment with that and see where the sweet spot for this whiskey is. What do you got on the nose there?
A little bit of the sea. I think a little bit of the sea salt going on there.
Sea salt?
It's a little, it hits the nose. A little tingly.
A little tingly. A little bit of effervescence, eh?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of zip to it. A little bit of zing.
It smells completely different than the cork.
Smells totally different than the cork. I get some citrus on there, like some lemon.
Even maybe a little bit of orange, even a little bit.
Yeah, orange, lemon, citrus notes for sure. I get a little bit of like honey in there, like some delicious toffee notes for sure, which is the nice malt. Get those notes for sure. So some sweetness in there for sure. And then I get a faint hint of maple syrup in there too. I know it's tempting just to say that for a Canadian whiskey, but man, I get like that smell of like pancakes that have been sitting on your plate, soaking up the maple syrup.
Pine, like a little pine tree almost in there, yeah.
It smells delicious.
It smells really good.
So I'm going to just take a quick roll of the glass here, just to coat the glass, so that that'll help you to kind of coat the entire surface so that you get an even better nose on it. Sometimes that'll help some flavors like leap out. And what I get when I smell it now is I get some crisp apple smell as well.
Ooh. I got a lot more caramel now.
Yeah. So it smells fantastic. So I think we should go in for a sip. Sláinte. Different again on the taste.
Yeah, completely different.
Not what I expected from the nose.
No, that's got a lot more smoke, I'd even say, a little more peaty.
Yeah.
I didn't smell any of that.
I didn't get any smoke on the nose. I got a bit of the sea salt essence for sure. Yeah. I got a lot of sweetness, a lot of caramel, the citrus flavors I mentioned, some fresh apple.
Where you can taste like this makes your tongue a little bit even from the citrus. Like
absolutely.
Very, very citrusy.
And on the actual palate, it's because it's bottled at 58%, the immediate thing you get the heat from the alcohol is very present. Mm-hmm. And we are dealing with a fairly young spirit. This is about 7 years old, right? But you can taste and hear the quality, and it begs to experiment and to discover what this whiskey is going to be at 15 years old, or even 12 years old, or 10 years old. Like, 'cause it's got just huge potential. Like, there is a huge burst of flavor when you drink this whiskey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, for me, I think it's a bit hot at the 58%, so I'm looking forward to trying with a bit of water. But already I get lots and lots of caramel and like some just delicious, deep, complex malt flavors, mixed with some honey, some toffee, and then that citrus note is really present.
There's still a lot of citrus in there, yeah.
A lot of citrus. Yeah. And as Jason said, one thing that's really surprising, because this is not a peated whiskey, you do get smoke, and it's not like any smoke I've ever had on any other whiskey.
No, I think it's more of a like an ocean smoke almost, like sea salty, musky, like
almost pungent smoke, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and that hits you immediately on the palate when you delve in. So we'll do another sip at Cask Strength, and we'll water down and we'll see what we get to here.
Yeah, the calves definitely wakes you up a little bit.
Wow.
Oh.
But it is fantastic.
Nice.
Like, it's so good. Like, I would say this is zesty. Like, this has a zing to it. Like, it has this effervescence where it, like Jason said, it wakes you up. It's like, it rings your bell. It lets you know that it's there. So it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like, it's in a very good way. Like, it's got the zip to it, right? It's got a zing, for sure.
I see it more of a summertime kind of like,
Summertime sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll just add a bit of water. So we'll just basically, by adding the water, we're going to open up the whiskey a little bit. So we'll get the water reacting with the whiskey and the oils will come to the top. But we also will add a decent amount of water so that we can dilute it down to a strength that'll sort of let us experience some other flavors. So I'm just going to start.
Don't usually do this, but I'm going to give it a try this time.
And at 58%,
yeah,
you can definitely afford to do it. So we did 5 drops there. And we'll kind of see what effect that has on the Cask Strength whiskey. So even with the amount we poured, so we poured about 1.5 ounces, so a nice full-size Whiskey Explorer dram. And with that, even for the 5 drops, it'll hold that water no problem. We'll do a quick nosing again at the diluted strength. Don't pick up anything new, really.
No.
So, without further ado, we'll go in for a sip.
Definitely takes off a little bit of the kick.
Yeah, the burn.
Which is nice.
I like it better with the water. So for me, it tamed down like the really hot flavor and taste of the whiskey. It sort of got rid of a lot of that alcohol burn, and it lets you get into the softer flavors there.
Lets you actually experience them right off the bat instead of having to wait for it to have the burn go away.
So like when I experience it now, I get more fruit. So I get like orchard fruits this time. So I get like pears, apples, that kind of orchard fruit in there for sure as a flavor. And then I get the honey. And then on the actual finish of the whiskey, that's when I start to sort of detect and pick up the toffees, the caramels, the maple syrup notes, the kind of sweeter elements of the whiskey. But I think Jason nailed it on the head when he said, like, this feels like the perfect summertime whiskey. Because you could sit. This is also a crushable whiskey, so you could sit down and you could have a great conversation with your brother or with your friend or another guest on the Whiskey Explorer, and you'd get halfway through this bottle no problem. And at 58%, you might be paying for it the next morning, but it would be a heck of a good night. So I think this one's a huge win, especially being a local distillery. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but I think it's super cool what they're doing. And of all the whiskeys that are around, that are on Vancouver Island anyway, they probably have the oldest aged spirit now. So they'll be releasing bottles soon that'll be 9 years old, and then soon we'll see 10-year-old releases, and it'll be really exciting when we see it get to 12 years and 15 years, and we'll be around for that, so that'll be super cool.
No, I'm definitely excited what they have to come with, and I'm not a huge fan of the rye whiskeys, so to taste something that actually has the flavor and everything going on is quite impressive. Yeah,
I think it is too, especially for a whiskey that's a distillery that's fairly new to the game, right? I mean, they're just kind of getting a really good reputation, and we can see them on independent liquor store shelves all over. And I think the next step for them would be kind of getting into the BC liquor store and getting into the province liquor stores, because people would snap this up off the shelf. It would sell
for sure
very well.
Yeah.
And I guess the next step for the Whiskey Explorer would be reaching out to Shelter Point, giving those guys a ring, and seeing if we can come up for a distillery tour and do some filming there, and maybe talk to their master distiller and get a bit of a tour and show you guys some footage and put up the drone and have a look and see what their operation looks like.
I've heard it's a very beautiful distillery up there too.
Yeah.
So I haven't been up myself, but I've been told, and It's very nice.
Yeah, and Campbell River is a gorgeous place, so we wouldn't mind doing a road trip. So Shelter Point, if you're watching, we'd love to hear from you. Check us out, check out our channel, give us a subscription if you like what you see. Don't forget to like, guys, and keep exploring the wonderful world of whiskey. Till next time, guys, Salancha.
Gotcha.